Hi there, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to explain to you how your 3.6 liter in your Wrangler is a ticking bomb.
My Jeep is a 2012 with nearly 200,000 kilometers on it, and my engine hasn't had any work done to it aside from a cracked oil filter housing, which is pretty common for the 3.6. Sure, it is a minivan motor, but overall I've been pretty happy with the 3.6. Could it use more torque? Absolutely. But even with the Pro Rock axles rocking 488 gears and 37s, the fuel economy on and off the trail is actually pretty good, all things considered. On my 4,500 kilometer round trip to Moab, my average eco, including trail time, was 13.2 liters per 100, approximately 18 miles per gallon. Honestly, I'm not going to complain about that.
So how exactly is the 3.6 a ticking bomb? Well, it comes from this. This is the factory oil filter. So what happens is after 45 minutes, this filter and the housing around it completely drains of oil. So when you go to start it after those 45 minutes are over, you get what's called a dry start. No oil in the top end of the engine. All the oil has sunk to the bottom end. It's sitting in the oil pan. So you're sitting there for 5 to 10 seconds with absolutely no oil in the top end at all. And every time you're starting your engine with this filter, you know, you're causing a dry start and you're causing more valve train damage. So there's two solutions to this extremely common problem. The first is, well, honestly, it's a bit of a band-aid. It's called the clear flood start. The way you do that in a manual is you push in your clutch all the way and you push your gas pedal in all the way. On an auto, you would step on the brake and then push the gas all the way, and then you turn the key. And it'll basically turn over forever. So what this basically is doing is it is cycling your engine, and it's getting oil from the bottom end into the filter and into the top end. But it's doing this at, you know, 300 or 400 RPM instead of 2000 RPM. So it's going to be a lot easier, less destructive on your valve train. But again, this is just a band-aid. Now the second solution is a little bit more permanent. It's the Baxter oil filter adapter.
The Baxter oil filter adapter has an anti-drain valve built into it, so oil stays inside the filter and essentially prevents dry starts.
Now I'm not going to go into the installation of the oil filter adapter because it is all on Baxter's website. It's pretty straightforward. I didn't require very many modifications at all, and depending on your year, you may actually require no modifications. It doesn't require a ton of tools. It's super simple, so check out their site for full instructions. Like I said, I'm not going to go into that. No sense in beating a dead horse.
So the oil change procedure is the same with or without the Baxter adapter. It's no different on the bottom. The only difference is up top.
Because the oil filter is full of oil, you would think that this is going to be a huge mess. What Baxter has done to prevent this is they have given us the ability to force the anti-drain valve open. All you need is air.
Now you don't need a whizzy air compressor setup like I have. All you really need is a bike pump. You know, just attach this end to the Schrader valve, give it a couple pumps, and that oil filter will be empty and there won't be any mess when you do your oil change.
This will pretty much completely drain the filter of oil. I still place a rag around the base just in case. But as you can see, the filter only has a tiny amount of oil left over. As for the fresh filter, just add a bit of oil to the gasket and spin it on, hand tight. The rest of the oil change procedure is unchanged. As I'm sure you've noticed, you will need a different filter. I use the Royal Purple 20-500 extended life filter, but a Wix 57502 will also work, and that is in fact the filter that Baxter recommends due to its lower profile. So now the big question is, does it work?
So to answer the question of whether or not it works, it does, for the most part. Now, Ruby is not my daily driver. So when my Jeep sits for a prolonged period of time, it was a dry-ish start. And there was more valve train noise than I wanted. So if my Jeep is parked for a prolonged period of time, I will still do the clear flood start method, occasionally. Now you might be thinking, oh, that makes the Baxter not worth it. And it is kind of expensive at $340 US or around 440 Canadian. But in my opinion, it still is worth it. Because in the case of a daily driver, you're still saving yourselves literally thousands of dry starts. So it is 100% worth it. The other sort of weird benefit that you get is the spin-on filter has a lot less rotational torque when you're removing it than the factory filter. So it's going to be a little bit easier on the entire housing assembly, which unless you swapped it out for an aluminum one, is plastic. So any wear and tear you can kind of take away from that plastic housing is a huge win. So that's kind of like an undocumented benefit to running a Baxter. At the end of the day, it might be a stretch. I might just be justifying my spend. And yes, I actually bought this thing. I'm not in any way affiliated, nor am I sponsored with Baxter. So this does make my opinion, I'd like to say, unbiased.
So like I said earlier, the only time I felt that the start was a little dry-ish was if Ruby sat for a week or more. But that's a really rare scenario, and I can still do the clear flood start method. So it's really not a huge deal to me. So I hope you found my review of the Baxter oil filter adapter useful. If you did, click the like button, smash the like button, just do something with the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. In the meantime, I've got an oil change to do so I can do more runs on the trails. I'll see you out there. I'm out of here.